Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Built Together podcast. I am your host, Dustin Hogue, and today I am with two people out of my backyard, out of St. Louis, Colin and Paige McNeil from the McNeil Insurance Group. So insurance brokers here locally in St. Louis. So guys, welcome to the show. How are we doing today?
Doing good. Thanks for
Wonderful.
having us.
Awesome. Yeah, I am excited to get into this. So we have been, I don't know, probably known each other for about 6 months now, just kind of see each other in passing on socials and stuff like that. But seems that you guys run a pretty successful insurance brokerage and obviously have kids and the married life and all that. So we're just going to dive into your guys' story and how do you balance it all and build this thing that you're building together. So let's just hear from you guys and kind of what your story is.
Well, first of all, I don't know how we balance anything. You know, running a business and running a household is very difficult. I don't really believe in any kind of balance. Think it's like a give and take type of relationship. The business sometimes demands more of our time. There'll be days where I'm working late or on super early. And trade-off is being your own boss, making your own schedule. Sometimes that means working 60, 70 hours a week. Sometimes it means like, hey, at the drop of a hat, if we want to go to the lake, we can do that. And, fortunately, we live in a world today where that's possible. As long as you have Wi-Fi and a computer, you can do the majority of your work from anywhere. And to that point, like say this, I'll take that trade-off any day. You know what I mean? Those days where I'm working late, like I'll take that. Be able to go off whenever I need to, especially like right now, have a year old that just finished kindergarten. And for anybody out there who has a kindergartner or has kids who just started school, like a slap in the face how much time you lose with them at that point. School gets them for 8 hours a day, and you'll hear more about our story, to where we're used to having them all the time. You know what I mean? And if you look at a picture of our daughter who started kindergarten, if you look at a picture of her August 20th or the end of August, May, like it's a completely different child, you know?
Yes.
I feel like the business has also allowed us to have slow mornings sometime
Mm,
where we
yeah.
can
It's exactly where I was going with it. Yeah.
step
Yeah.
back and not rush
Yeah.
around so much. Then you pick up and you can kind of dictate you're going to
Yeah.
work late or when you're going to slow down or when.
Yeah, I love that. And randomly enough, my daughter turned 6 next week and she just graduated kindergarten. So
Nice.
starts first grade in the fall. So I understand
You get it.
exactly. She's my
Yeah.
Mhm.
youngest. So I had one before her, obviously my 9.5-year-old, but it does. And the older they get, it's less time. A
Yeah.
lot more sports get involved too that take their time too. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
I
Hmm.
understand that. So got two kids, one graduating kindergarten. We're spending some time with them. How long have you guys been in business together? How long have you guys been married? Kind of the origin story, if you will.
We've been together for about 13 years. Then we got married 5 years ago, which is when he actually started his own agency. So it all kind of happened. Great
Okay.
agency. We had our first daughter. It was all that first year was crazy.
Yeah, it was wild. Been
Yes.
doing insurance. I've been doing insurance for 10 and a half years at this point. It's
Okay.
it's crazy to say that. But when we started the agency, there's just a lot of life happening. And I know this is about how did we get into business together? We were kind of just like thrown into it.
Yeah.
In at the beginning of COVID, everything was shutting down. She was a nurse. She still is a nurse. I say was, but she still is a nurse. She was nursing at South, and I'll let her get into that story. But ultimately, they put a like to get too political here, or they put a mandate out there for getting the vaccine. At the time, we had a couple friends who were having a lot of problems getting pregnant. I don't know. I don't know if it was because of the vaccine. Like you read a lot of stuff and you kind of like pick the stuff that makes sense to you. And there wasn't a whole lot of research out there on these vaccines. Ultimately, we pushed that off for as long as we could. And I would really like her to tell that story because it's very eye opening how these hospitals pressure you into, or how she was pressured into getting it, how she
Yeah.
was made to feel throughout her workday because she, didn't want to get it. And for me, I'm very much like, I want to do everything that I can for my family, to keep them happy and healthy, so like even though financially it was very hard, like looking back, I don't really know how we made it. We were just really crossing our fingers and holding our breath most of the time. Just knew that we could get through it just because of the dynamic of our relationship. And yeah, I mean, let her kind of get into it, but for like the last few months that she was there, they were pushing her into getting it. I'll let her kind of get into that though, but that's how we were thrown into a business ownership. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I had our oldest daughter, and well, I was pregnant whenever I first started there. And so I worked there, got moved up to charge nurse, and then shortly. And then so we're getting married, and they had put those mandates out, and they were like, "Hey, you got to get this. You got to get this." And I was like, "Ah, I don't know." We were thinking about having another, and then at that time, I was just like, we were just kind of uncertain about it. So I put it off as long as I could, and then it finally came down to the wire. I just felt uneasy about it, and I was like, "I don't. Can we do?" He had just started the agency, and it was kind of like, "Hey, well, we just started this, so let's see how it works. I'll get to spend more time at home. We can maybe take care of the home side, not have to do daycare, not have to do all that." So we kind of took a gamble. I left, started staying home with our oldest daughter, and then he just hit the ground running and kind of took off from there. There was pretty stressful. We starting something from scratch. I feel like the first 3 years maybe of when you start something, you're just surviving it. And then after that, the last what for 3 years, I feel like we're just now seeing the hard work that we've put in and the choices that we made for me to stay home and how much that's been beneficial to us. We've gotten so much time back, I feel like, that you spend with your kids when they're either at daycare or they're being raised by someone else. The amount of time that we've gotten back with our kids and doing this and him finding all the time has been priceless for me and change
Yeah.
it. It's just kind of, we didn't
I
know we were this way, but then now that we are, we're like, "That was the best decision we could have ever made."
I love that story, and I had no idea because that is exactly why my wife started working in our company. She worked for the other large hospital, not Mercy, but BJC. And interesting about her, she actually worked from home, so she was non-clinical, like didn't see anyone. And they're like, "You have to
Hey,
have the shot," and she's like, "I don't see anyone."
make it make
And
sense.
yeah, and it obviously didn't. And we're like, "Okay,
Funny
so
part of that is 2 years ago, all the mandates stopped and they were allowing people back who hadn't. I went back to the same floor, the same company, the same I was like, "Hey, what's going on? It's been a couple years, don't need it anymore." And I was PRN for a little bit just to pick up some extra money, get out of the house a little bit, and we had another kid, and that didn't work out either because the payoff that we saw before, it was doesn't make any sense for us.
yeah, the
yeah,
the world of childcare is super, super expensive. I mean, our
yeah,
world and society is built to have a two-income household.
it really is.
So, but there
Yeah,
is, like there is a way, like if we can reach anybody through this platform here, like there is a way, but there's a lot of challenges. Like, and I and I know you probably got other questions, so we're probably like diving way too deep
no,
into
I
this one,
love
but
this. I love
there's
this.
there's a lot of challenges, like you go through ups and downs and seasons in your life and your mind and physically, mentally, everything. So like, and she brought up a good point earlier, like it gets very hard to see the shit that your partner's in when you're also
Mm,
going through a lot of shit,
mhm.
and it it tests your relationship like no other. And I'm sure you know this too.
Sure.
It
Yeah.
it will test you. It'll test every ounce of fiber in your relationship, and like it really shows you like you picked the right partner or not.
Absolutely.
And there's never really been a time through how hard it's been where quitting was ever an option, whether it be on the business or whether it be on our relationship. We've never, we're just not we're not cut from that cloth.
I I love it. So so many ways I can go with that now in the questions, but first of all, I love the story. I love how you guys are building it together. Now, how in present day does the dynamic work with the household and the business? Are both of you in the business, or both of you, in the house, or is it split? What's that look like?
Um, I think it for the house, I think it varies day to day, kind of responsibilities for the main focus of it. Feel like I'm at home with the girls. I'll kind of keep things in a steady rhythm at home. Then he's in the selling, the running the business, all of his hats. But then at the same time, also on the back end, kind of doing like payroll and stuff like that. The tedious things that no one wants to deal with, really. And but also, I don't think it's 50-50 all the time. I think you see what strong suit one partner has and what strong suit the other has, and it's a balancing act on, okay, today you're strong in that point, I'm strong on the other. It's trying to figure out each person needs at the same time. There'll be times where I feel like I'm had the worst day. The kids are out of control. I've got 20,000 laundry loads or whatever. And so I'm feeling stressed out and like I'm wearing all these hats. Then on the flip side, he's running a business. He's a boss. He's in sales. He's putting out fires probably all day long dealing with clients and feels like he's wearing all these hats that no one sees. But when we try to come home and try to I feel like our strongest part of marriage is when we can see each other's hats. Be like, okay, you're wearing this, you're wearing this, and we see each other and have respect for the amount of work that the other person's doing all the time.
I love. How do you see each other's hats? What tips can you give for people in that situation? Because I think that's a
I
lot.
feel like that has been a learned talent for the both of us. I feel like problem we run into a lot is when he's got a lot going on, he kind of goes quiet because he's trying to process everything that's going on. And I feel like maybe probably one of your biggest complaints about me is I want to know what's going on right now because I want to understand it and I want to figure it out. I feel like we've learned that we work better when he takes a little time to figure out what's going on and he can formulate a plan on how to get there. Then I kind of sit back a little bit and try to bite my tongue and back and wait for him to bring it to me. And then we can both
Mm,
formulate a plan together to figure out what's actually going on.
I love
And
that.
Dustin, to add to that, like I'm interested to know how you guys deal with it too.
Fair.
But yeah, 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 yeah. But the effort, like it requires a lot of effort, and I feel like today we're in a society where we want everything to be easy. Social media and anything out there influencing you is, like there's a lot of propaganda saying that it should be easy or it makes you feel like it should be easier than it is, but it's not.
I need
And
to meet those people because
yeah,
I need to figure out
and
what's going
and
on.
like marriage is hard, like it's easy, but it's hard,
Yeah.
and I don't know how much you and your wife have gone through like the love languages and stuff,
Hmm.
but like even if we weren't entrepreneurs and running a business together, like learning how to communicate with your wife outside of words and her me is huge because like even if you learn it, like you default to your natural settings and what makes you feel good and like what helps you operate. And then like you could be like just running in the complete opposite direction and wondering
Yeah.
why you guys are pinging off of each other, and taking a minute to understand that like you know he picks up on my love or she gets energy re-energized from certain things that I don't truly think about doing. And when I do it, or like when I'm actively trying and doing it, seeing how she responds, it makes all of the sense in the world. Like I'm very humble to the fact that, like we have a lot of time to go. I'm proud of where we are today, but it is really sad to see how many people give up before they actually try. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. No, I love that.
I think
Something
that
that
sorry, go ahead.
to kind of sum up everything that I'm hearing from you guys, the word awareness comes to mind, where you're aware of each other, or you've learned how to be aware of each other,
Mhm.
whether it's a good day, a bad day, the feelings they're having, how do you make that feeling go away, whatever it is. So I always try to find a theme of the people I interview, and so far with you guys, it's awareness. I think that's what helps you guys build this thing, which is pretty amazing, right? I love that. That's going to be a big note there. Awareness. Now, with that, and you mentioned, how do my wife and I do it? So it's interesting because I've taken all of the coaching I've had into me and all the coaching I do for people, and I turned around and put it into our marriage, which is kind of the whole concept of this mission I'm putting together here. But everything we do is based off three things, and that's vision. What do we want the marriage to look like? What do we want our lives to look like? Whatever it may be, right? It's implementation, where that's the strategy. How are we doing this? What are we actually doing? How are we going to fund the life we want to have, whatever it may be? And then it's the accountability. For us, it's counselors, therapists, and coaches, right? Like we have accountability in our lives that's uncomfortable accountability, honestly, uh, for for us to be held accountable to our vision. That's how we do it. Now, a couple tools that we do is we do have weekly meetings. Every week we go over, I call it a level 10 meeting based off the book Traction. If you guys never read that, it's a great book to read.
What
But
is it?
it's
Action.
called
Traction. Yeah.
Traction. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
that one right there. But they talk about a level 10 meeting, and I do this with all my coaching clients, and then we have it together. But it's, hey, we're looking at the schedule. Where can I help you pick up the kids, whatever it is? What has to happen in the projects we're doing at work or the several businesses we're running? And then, just talk about everything. And what that does is it gives us space to be able to communicate about the challenges or issues we have to have versus me bringing it up at dinner or when she's cooking dinner, which for all the married guys out there, let's stop doing that. That
Not
is
a good
not
idea.
a good time, right? Or after the kids are in bed, wives, don't bring it up anymore. Let's stop working at that point, right? So it gives us space and the environment to we know we're going to be heard at this time. We know what we're going through. We can talk about it this time. Obviously, if it's not an emergency, of course. Right. So that's one of the tools and tips that I would recommend everyone to help with that. All those things you're going through is, hey, we know we're going to have time to talk about this because it's scheduled like any other business appointment is scheduled for us.
Love
Yeah.
that.
But in the business, how do the decisions work? I mean, Colin, are you kind of, at running there, that kind of thing? Or do you guys make joint decisions? Like if I'm hiring somebody or if I'm going to go rent a new office, whatever that is that a joint decision or somebody has different roles?
I would say everything is I mean, there are decisions that I make as far as operations go, but I would say most everything is a joint decision. Like when we first met, we did a video call back in like December or January,
Yeah.
and Paige was on with me. Like we've
Mhm.
talked, like the next phase for us to invest into real estate, whether it be a flip or whether it be buying something to hold on to, is something that we want to do together. And I wouldn't have it any other way. A lot of times I just and I prefer it that way. I really do. I prefer to get her insights, and most of the time, if not all of the time, I'm finding that, like she's thinking about something completely different than I'm thinking about something, and really helps me. And then like on the other side of things, if I think something's a really good idea and I hear her, like criticize it or, like, or give her feedback, and I'm able to respond with, okay, yes, I understand that, but this is where I was thinking. It helps me validate and trust myself a little bit more. So like from that aspect, we run everything pretty much together. So
Yeah. I love that. True partnership. Challenges in that, especially because you were kind of running the business or in insurance before, Paige kind of came into the business, right? So is there ever well, hey, I've been doing this longer, or I believe this and you don't believe that, but it should be because I've done this longer. What kind of conflicts have you guys had to resolve through that?
None. No, I'm just kidding.
Nice.
I'm kidding.
Just saying,
Liar. No.
never mind. I'm gonna mute my conversation.
Go ahead.
Don't feel like question how he does things or why he does things in the business. I feel like I trust that he knows what he's doing fully. More so if he's bringing something to me and it's a team decision, it's more I feel like not really a planner like long term. Like when we first met, I didn't have like, oh, 10-year goals I want. I'm not that way. Feel like he is about 5, 10, 30 years down the line, business wise. And he'll bring those ideas to me. And I feel like he has got out an imagination, but just kind of the idea that anything's possible. And he'll bring things to me and hey, I like 47 ideas that he's got that he's cooked up that he wants to start doing. And I feel like he brings those to me and it makes me think, cool. And I more so like to, okay, well, let's do this. And we kind of formulate a plan together and then it takes off. So it's almost just his strong suit is the ideas and the imagination and thinking all that way down the line. Whereas when I think down the line, I'm more, I want us to have property. I want us to be able to escape and I want our to be healthy, happy, and outdoors with our kids and spending time together. So that's my idea. So when he throws out business ideas, it's like, okay, I can see that. That's how we're going to get there. So he's more so focused on the vehicle to get us to that. And when he brings the ideas, then it's setting like a roadmap for how we're going to get there together. It just always feels we're working on the same team.
I love that. So you kind of, if I heard that correctly, Paige, you kind of cast this overarch vision of how you want life to feel. And Colin, then you're going to say, this is how we're going to get to feel that way.
Yeah. And in the
I love that.
small things on how we're going to get there, we break them down into, okay, well, we need to do this right now.
Mm.
It's all about long suits and working together on the same team to get where you want to be.
I love that. So yeah, a lot of roles. And
Yeah.
then Brooke, we haven't talked much about the home, and obviously your kids are, so your oldest is 6, right? Okay.
Yes.
So there's probably not a ton of logistics right now. I mean, there was school, but there's not sports or anything like that yet, correct?
Oh,
And
they're
how
in
you're gonna
sports.
Oh, okay. All right. So both of them. All right. So how does the logistics work of that? Where now we're bringing on this other, really two other people's schedules and other calendars that you have to work around and work with while you guys are running everything else.
Think because again next year when our
Fair.
youngest one is in sports, but that's kind of it's not easy, but we do everything together.
Okay.
And like I'm very very aware that like when we have two girls running in opposite directions and maybe one of us is coaching one, the other one is coaching the other, or like we're gonna have to split up, but that is do this together is why we're doing what we're doing, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
we very, very, very aware of the fact we are very aware of the fact that this doesn't last forever, and I don't know if it's like I lost my dad like when I was 2 years old.
Okay.
My sister was 2 weeks and my oldest brothers were 10 and 8.
Wow.
So so I just want to make sure that for as long as we can, we're doing as much as we can together. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, it does.
I feel like whenever Murphy's our oldest and when she started kindergarten, it feels like started kindergarten, she had to be at school at 7:50. Okay. And we've had a very we've had a very relaxed, we wake up, hang out, go outside. So when kindergarten started, it was like, whoa, what? We have to be here, here, here. And then she started playing soccer and she did soccer, basketball, gymnastics. We had her in martial arts, and then we had her in t-ball, which just finished. But when soccer started, it was a practice during the week and then games on the weekends. And I remember looking at him after the first 2 weeks, and I was like, how do people do this? And we only had one in it at that time. I was like, we're just so jam packed with this. What is going on? We got through that. And then now, towards the end of the year, when we just finished T ball, it was like we kind of looked back and we're like, oh, well, we're rocking it now. And I feel like that's just kind of how with the business too. The first 3 years, it's like, how in the world are you supposed to do this when you're just starting off? And even with marriage, I feel like you start off and honeymoon phase, whatever, but then you start, we've been together for 13 years, so that was a while ago, but you realize that it's all about finding a groove, uh, learning like lessons, not losses. You figure out, okay, this didn't work, but why didn't that work? And you build from there and you just keep learning. And things 100 times and now you're in a groove versus the first couple. Yeah, it sucks. But sports, we had our youngest daughter. We pulled her up onto the kindergarten team with us because we were both coaching it and she was running around hitting stuff too. And it's just, we figured out, no, we don't need a sitter. We need to just bring her along and she needs to figure it out and play with us. It's I like to just do things all together and kind of by the beat of our own drum pretty much all the time.
Guys, I love this. First of all, you said learn lessons, not losses. I'm going to use that. That is a great line. I don't think I've ever heard it that way. But one thing you said there is, how are we going to do all this? And it's interesting. There's a book by Dr. Ben Hardy about your future self. And I can't I forget the exact title, but great book. And he talks about what would you rather do 20 years from now? You 20 years from now, what decision would you be happy with today? And I'd be much happier with making sure I'm at all those sporting events with my kids or outside playing, all of that stuff that we just talked about versus not. And being sometimes able to look at that through the person you are 20 years from now is a pretty cool blessing if you can do that. I'm blessed. One of my very good friends is exactly 20 years my senior. Like his kids are closer to my age than I am his age. So being able to watch, or him being able to watch my life and I be able to bounce ideas off of him as a mentor has been pretty amazing for that. So it
Yeah,
sounds like you guys are absolutely killing it. So congratulations to that. I love that. You know,
appreciate it.
final words just for the audience about people going into business with their spouse. I think I looked at a statistic. There's over 350,000 in America of small businesses that are ran by spouses together, right? And I believe it's an industry that's not talked about enough because there's a lot of challenges with it, right? Like there's challenges with entrepreneurship, there's challenges at marriage, but when you combine the two, that adds an extra layer. So what would you say to all those people that either are wanting to or just trying to figure it out, or the people that have been doing it for a while?
I think that if you go into your day every day starting out thinking, knowing that my partner on both ends is doing their very best and everything they can every day, and that sets you up for whatever's coming in the night when they get home. You're more understanding and empathetic to what's going on, and I think that helps tremendously dealing with home life and marriage, the business.
Say
I love that.
counselor. No, seriously, but not seriously.
I know, but yes. Yes.
Be patient. And if you have a vision for like you said, if you have a vision for your future self, go all in on it. You know what I mean? And work your ass off. And then the things that you want, like this morning I took my youngest daughter is an early bird and I was able to take her up to the park for a little bit because I didn't have any appointments and worked late yesterday, so everything was kind of at zero. Like enjoy it. Like
Mm.
actually enjoy it. Like your friend who is 20 years your senior, like when he says things like you're going to really miss this or like what I try to do is put myself into that perspective in that moment. Like am I really going to miss this? Yes. When she's like go down the slide with me, I'm like I barely fit. You know what I mean? Like just do it, just do it. You know what I mean? Because like chances are they are having the time of their life and it's so simple. It costs no money, like, and also like you are making yourself healthier and it's slowing down time as much as you can. But just whatever you're doing it for, when you get a chance to be in that moment, in the moment. Does that make sense?
That absolutely. Be where your feet are.
Yeah.
Love that. Guys, this is awesome. What a great episode. You know, the reason for this podcast and this organization and this movement that we're creating around Built Together is not because everybody has it figured out, but it's because we can all learn from someone else and how somebody does this and how somebody does this, and we put it all together so we can all get better. So, you know, Colin and Paige, I absolutely appreciate and honored that you guys were welcome to or came to the show. But guys, we'll see. Oh, Colin's got more
Can
things to
I
say. What
add
do you
one
got?
more thing?
Of course.
And just a testament to you, man. Follow you a lot on. I'm really only on like Facebook.
That's me too. I'm a
But
boomer. No,
but I follow you a lot, man, and I appreciate the content that you put out there and what you're doing. I really think this is a cool mission. This is going to be a very, very cool thing. And anytime you need a guest or you need us to be a guest, you know, our lives are evolving all the time. Some of
yeah,
our answers might be different
Yeah,
next
check
week.
back next week.
But
yes,
dude, I'm happy to represent and support you, man. Keep doing what you're doing because like this is going to, it really does help. You know, like if somebody who's struggling right now, if you and I were like, oh man, you know, plenty of people go through this. Almost everybody goes through this. You know, it's hard to hear that when you're in it and you're like, yeah. Well, I don't think they're feeling as bad as I am. But then like something like this comes out and they may hear something that we said that resonates with them and that could change their perspective, put them on a completely different path. And then it's just
yeah,
up to them to keep that momentum rolling. So
yeah, absolutely.
I can't wait to see your next guest, man. I can't wait to see this when it comes out. So thanks for having us
Yeah,
on.
absolutely, guys. Thank you. And everybody else, we will see you next week on the next episode.